Donald Trump uses that technique. Donald Trump says so and so, and when he does that, you think, I thought you were Donald Trump. That third person stuff, that really does show either a genuine arrogance or I think in her case a kind of a implanted arrogance to overcome that pulping that she got on the show.
I'm Rebecca Lewis, I'm here with metro.co.uk and I'm here with Judi James, body language expert. There's been a lot going on this week and we're going to start with the biggest talking point, which was the kiss.
Oh, do you know, I wonder where you were going. I thought we were going sex or bits or whatever.
The kiss.
The kiss.
Yeah.
The kiss.
Georgia and Jack, they went on a date. Georgia claimed he went in, he claimed she went in. The nation has been divided. Mm-hmm. So let's watch it and get your thoughts.
Do you want the long version or do you want the quick version? Right, none of them come out with any glory because they were flirting anyway, mildly during the date. But she was already in kiss mode as she was getting up from that table. It's like that moment when you're about to say at the end of a date, are you going to come in for coffee? Not that I've ever had this, but you know, and then your eyes lock slightly and there's, yeah, we will, no, we won't. She was looking up at him with that smile that people use when prepared to kiss. It's called an announcement gesture. So she gets up from the table. They then did that first kiss, which was, okay, he was kind of there, but it was a slight miss. It wasn't absolutely planted smack. But she was touching his face. Now, to me, that's a kind of sending off signal. I mean, any woman watching another woman do that to her man, off the pitch, thank you very much. It's tender, and also that gave her control. So she was in control of the choreography after that. She then goes back for the second one, and that's where she was completely going to plant that one. He did back away. Not scalded cat, but pretty, almost as quick. And then she did the hug, 2 arms around his neck. He did respond to that. You kind of have to. This is a problem, you know, I teach people about things like greeting rituals and kissing in business and things. And I always say, look, if somebody comes up to kiss you on the cheek, you kind of have to respond. I mean, not obviously on the lips, but it's polite to respond a bit. So he did exceed that when he leapt away. And when they hugged, he used something called gentleman's hands. If you're really fancying somebody and think you're in with a chance, often there's a kind of bit more, there's copping a feel, I think we call it in South London. But what he did was he kept his hands quite tense and slightly away from her, so he's been very gentlemanly, and so that was all down to her. He wasn't perfect, but I don't think Laura would have had a problem with what he did. Yeah. It was Georgia making the running. And also she started talking about herself in the third person. Have you noticed that? She's created this character, G, which is always worrying. I mean, that's a sign of a overinflated ego. I mean, if I sat here now and said, well, Judi James thought, you know, you'd look at me like, do you not realise you share that body? Donald Trump uses that technique. Donald Trump says so and so, and when he does that, you think, I thought you were Donald Trump. That third person stuff, that really does show either a genuine arrogance or I think in her case a kind of a implanted arrogance to overcome that pulping that she got on the show.
So the next clip is the aftermath of this.
We both kissed on the lips. It's not like I insinuated it.
You both went in at the same time kissing the lips?
Yeah, we said goodbye. The date went well. And I said, bye-bye, babe. And then it was a kiss on the lips.
So Georgia was quite fidgety and she started taking out her earrings and moving around. What did that tell you?
That would be seen, I think, if you were in court as a sign of guilt. Discomfort. However, she was also implanting it into a lot of and again, it was overcongruent, which means that she possibly wasn't feeling it, but she was leading on that conversation. She made it look and sound as though she was accusing Laura of stealing her man. You know, right. she was very dominant, her vocal tone was dominant, and Laura almost became, for a moment, quite submissive. Mm. You know, it's a bit like if somebody accuses somebody of cheating on them, the other person will often turn around and say, oh, what, were you looking through my phone messages? It's that diversionary tactic where, because she was leading it and she was the one that was calling witnesses in for the prosecution, she had to be innocent. And I think sometimes people work out the best display, and I think a lot of people, they do think to themselves, the best is to attack. So I'll attack Laura for even thinking that would be disloyal. Laura knew that she was disloyal. You know, she's created this new rule of loyalty, which I can't stand, which is as long as I tell you about it beforehand, it's all right. No, it's not all right. You know, you don't say that to people. I mean, I don't say to you, I'm about to poke you in the eye. And when you go, ooh, like that, I say, well, I told you, I wasn't being aggressive. I told you before. I'm not going to, by the way.
Thanks.
And you're wearing glasses. Break my finger. But the big problem was she messed with all of our minds because it was all counterintuitive behaviour. So I'm sure there was people at home sitting there thinking, eh? And Laura, you could see, was kind of, I'm getting mixed messages here. I don't know who to trust now. Laura does fight back because Laura's been in the same boat. I mean, I think Laura's sitting on a barrel load of resentment that she's been storing up, but it kind of keeps coming out after a slightly more vulnerable version of Laura, which I think Laura might be somebody that'd be going around calling the shots sooner or later as well, when she stops crying.
The kiss situation kind of felt like it was dying off, but then 2 new boys came in and it seemed to spark back up again when Idris took Laura on a date and decided to tell her that from his point of view, Jack had made the first move.
Yeah.
So let's watch that and see what you thought about
Okay.
Yeah, so it seemed like he went for the kiss, so that's why. Yeah.
What you saw, like he went in for a kiss with her.
He's stirring, right?
Yeah, but do we think Idris came up with that little plot all by himself? For me, he came in with a little key turned in his back. He was like a little Exocet missile, let me cause trouble wherever I can.
Right.
And he would know that the viewers at home were sitting there yelling like a pantomime, you know, no. Although by then we were getting so confused, we probably went back and looked again. I don't know how many times I've seen that clip, for goodness sake.
Different angles. And
No, I haven't done that yet, actually. But and he's trying to pretend that he's being the nice guy at the same time, because he did one gesture, which is he bit his lower lip, and that is supposed to imply, oh, I'm really regretting telling you this. Was he heck? He couldn't wait, not only to tell her, but to make it up anyway. And Laura, who had been, I think she'd had 5 seconds of what looked like happiness, but it might have been wind, I don't know, suddenly went plummeting down tragedy alley yet again, with her poor little face collapsed and her poor little voice where she's, oh no. I think with Laura, I know she's getting a lot of criticism, but I think she must feel in there by now that everybody and everything on the show is just aimed at her all the time. And I would imagine it's not just the fact that she's losing these guys. I'm not sure that's too much of a loss, but I think she must be getting paranoid in there, as though as a character, as a person, it's for some reason those bad plot lines are all being aimed at her.
Yeah. So we'll move on from the kiss, because a few other things did happen this week. Last night, a new bombshell came in, Alexandra, and she decided to take Dr. Alex on her first date. So let's watch and get your point of view.
I've never been to Wimbledon, but I've got to go.
I've been to Wimbledon.
Have you?
Yeah, I went to watch
haven't
Roger Federer.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, last
I
year.
love that guy.
Yeah.
He is like the
I might be able to sort
sport and
tickets for it.
professional. Really? Yeah, sort tickets out.
Okay, I'll sort that
That would be
first.
the best second date ever.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have some more in here.
Oh, can I uncurl my toes again? I'm going to sue for toe curl. That will be. I can take a smaller shoe size, you know, because my toes are so curled. He's the flimsy bonding. Oh, her name is Alexandra, you know, and those two names go. And I think it was Jack almost making up a song about them before they've even met. The minute she walked in, come on, did the whole nation not realise that this was never going to work? This very sophisticated woman whose mother had told her, as I said they would, go for the doctor. That's what mums say. You know, maybe mother should have gone in there and. But again, we're getting these lines. What are your interests? What are your hobbies? What do you do when you're not, you know, when you're social? I mean, he's interviewing them for some job or something, and he's talking over her again. He wasn't listening to her answers. He didn't look at her particularly. And you could see her beginning to go slightly dead behind the eyes at a point.
Are those not suggestions of like being nervous though?
For her?
For him?
Yes,
going through like a
of
routine.
Of course. Yes, I have, look, sympathy. Sympathy hat coming on, cynic hat going on. I feel really sorry for him. He's in the wrong environment for him.
Right.
He's there with a load of geezers that could chat up, you know, the pebble on the beach and win it over. And they've got the cheesiest chat up lines, but it's all winning. And with him, I think he's just not good at that kind of thing. And I know people think he's getting better. He's not. He's just getting exquisitely bad, I think, now.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be learning what the guys are teaching them because he's not that guy. He's an intelligent guy. And basically, he should just say, hi, I'm a doctor. And people would just, that would be enough of a chat up. But
Yeah.
and all his, oh, you know, we've got this in common, that in common. It really awful. And you could tell, I'm sorry, her body language, she kept forgetting to smile and you could see it face dropping.
Oh dear.
I know. But the good thing is, he's still in there single. That must be great for you. Heartening.
Okay.
And he's getting more vulnerable and lovable and
Yeah. Well, she also took Jack on a date, new Jack.
Yes, new Jack.
Not old Jack.
Not new Jack.
Yeah.
Oh dear, my
So-
eyes.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm here.
Yeah.
And my name's Alex.
I know. That's everyone was like, what? Everyone was like, what?
I
Alexandra.
know.
Okay. Did she seem more into Jack than Alex then?
I think she did, but I think she saw a brick wall,
Right.
which patently that's what he was trying to turn himself into. I mean, the guy's already had a yellow card. I mean, I think if he did any more than breathed, that there was a chance that somebody was going to. He must have been so paranoid. He was probably thinking, "Don't even look at me because they're going to say we had sex. Keep that orange juice away from me." And I love the way that he was physically attached to the chair. You know, I'm not leaving this chair. I am this chair.
Yeah.
And you will not come anywhere near me, you temptress. And she was quite in temptress mode as well. I mean, she was leaning, hair preening going on there.
Yeah.
I don't think that she was particularly interested in him, but I think she's probably doing that because she's establishing herself for the cameras. So you could see her eye dart moving away, and I think the hair preen kind of went to a slightly bored gesture after a while. But, you know, so we got Dr. Alex with his precision chopping gestures with her, and now suddenly we've got Immobile Man made out of bricks and mortar. And
Not the first two dates. Not the best first two dates for her, is it?
I think I've had dates like that, maybe worse, I don't know. So, no, it wasn't, and especially as she was coming in looking so, I mean, hugely sophisticatedly sexy as well.
She then walked back into the villa with Jack, and the girls instantly, oh, so who've got your eye on? And she also mentioned Idris, and then Idris and her had a little chat, so we'll watch that now. Looking at their body language, is she into him? Is he into her? Because they're both new now.
Yes, and I think she brought out the best in him because, I mean, his chat-up lines were dire, weren't they?
Yeah.
Apart from, I mean, if you can only pull a bird by saying your bloke kissed somebody else, I mean, you're just waiting for the husks after that, aren't you? He hadn't done very well up until that point. I mean, I think the conversations had been flagging, but she was suddenly she came alive. So with the other two, she'd just been on the receiving end of their body language signals and their verbal mis-chat-ups or not. Suddenly with him, she was making a complementary fit. So she was creating humour bonds between them, laughing uproariously at not very funny jokes, which I think is a good sign that you fancy somebody. Although I have to say, I think that was echoing up towards Alex. I think that was quite a strong message, like, you know, this is what I'm like when I really fancy somebody.
Do you think that was on purpose?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Made a good camera view, didn't it, as well? Like a meerkat. Listen, her laughter couldn't have been based on anything hugely funny that Idris was saying. It was that, aren't we having a good time, over-congruent laughter that people do when they want to show that they're bonding rather than genuinely bonding. But those two certainly put on a much more mirrored display, and I think that was down to her working complementary to him rather than his behaviour. So, and can I just say, when she went into the group, she made a bit of a fatal error, and I'm sure she'll overcome it, but she isolated herself by taking centre spot. When she walked into the group, particularly with the women, instead of there should be a pack animal display, which is where you lower yourself slightly and you say, oh, you look great and aren't you wonderful and I've enjoyed watching you. And that would, for any animal, it would be a display that would allow them to ingratiate into the group. You need to get into that group of women. What she did was she went and stood right in the middle of them and splayed, and they would see that, watch this space, because they would have seen that as an invasion.
Right. That's really interesting.
I
Note
find
to
it
any
interesting.
future islanders.
Grovel when you go in. Yeah.
There's other islanders, obviously, in the villa, although they've all been a little bit quieter this week. However, on Wednesday night, Meghan asked Wes to be her boyfriend. What were your thoughts on that entire ridiculous situation?
Call me old-fashioned. She did that after they'd done the deed. I mean, is there not a pecking order of like, oh, let's establish our... No, I'm not being prudish, but, it came well up the pecking order for me that they'd already kind of committed to one another in the, what do they call it, the love shack?
In the hideaway.
Hideaway. Came back grinning like Cheshire Cats. I love that kind of, we're not going to say anything, oh, we did it all. And then she very coyly goes and asks him to be her boyfriend. I find those two deeply over-congruent with their body language. He's been really showboating for the cameras, creating little buzzwords and doing a lot of talking straight to camera. And rebooting, I think, after the sort of initial bad boy behaviour that he had. And her too. I think it's almost like they're trying to delete from your memory what they've been like in the past. And yes, of course, people can change. But this is the moment in reality TV. Hold on to your hat, because it's a big word. It's called the epiphany. And they do it in nearly all the reality shows. I've this and I've that and I've never had a boyfriend before. But suddenly I'm a changed person. She's not that person that was going around just picking up people's boyfriends like they were in a supermarket sweep or something. She's now knows what it's like to fall in love, and it's given her confidence. And I'm sorry, but I was that's where the laugh stuck in my throat. She's giving all the, oh, I can't say it. I thought, for goodness sake, it looked so much like a performance to me. And he's doing this kind of, oh, I can't believe that she said it to me. I'm sorry. It was beautifully acted, but really, were we believing it? Oh, really, I'm so shy. Sorry, while I'm on the subject, I'll get my soapbox out now. Do you remember when she did that lap dance thing?
Yeah.
Came out in that outfit. Oh, I can't just put on sexy. I can't do it. I can't. Oh, for goodness sake, do what you're good at. She's a sexy woman. She can do sexy.
Also,
like
she's a
that.
stripper.
I didn't want to say that. I'm sorry.
What is her job? She's a stripper, and she came out and said, "Oh, I don't know what came over me. Like, that was your job."
Not a good line for a stripper.
What was actually? Let's talk about that. From your point of view, why did she even use that language? Why was she acting like, oh, what came over me, when she knows that we know that's her job?
I know,
What was the purpose?
and absolutely nothing held against the woman for whatever she does for a living.
Yeah.
But don't then suddenly try and play converse. I mean, it's fine. She could have just come out and slayed it, which she kind of did anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, that was a really, really good dance, really good. There's absolutely no need for her to also go, oh, don't know where that came from, because then it looks as though she's trying to bluff us or something like that. Clearly, she's trying to show a more vulnerable side to her. And people have a vulnerable side, but not for something like that. Just surf it, enjoy it. I mean, Wes is no angel anyway, and I mean, they'd make a very good pairing, but not with them both trying to look as though they're on their first date in school or something like that.
It would be nice for her to own it as well.
Yes.
Like, own that you are this really sexual woman who is a stripper.
Yeah, and this is what I do. So what? And I'm going to win that lap dance, because this is I'm playing to my strengths now. No, I don't know why, but she feels obliged. And I've said in the past that deep, deep, deep down, there probably is a lot of intrinsic insecurities, but not in the way that we're seeing. That's not the vulnerability, that acted vulnerability that we're seeing now.
Right. Anyone else you wanted to mention?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much, Judi.
My pleasure, thank you.
Any questions you might have for next week, please do send them in. And thank you for watching.